Peter with HTP. Aluminum. Aluminum is a very heat-driven, thermic-driven process. So you can MIG it, TIG it, stick it. There's a video out there for this. But the problem is most people are fighting a cold start. Everybody says you have to preheat your material. Everybody knows this. There's textbook. You're just not doing this right. Get a torch, start preheating the material. Well, that's all fine and dandy, but how do you get consistency? How do you know what the temperature is of the material that you're preheating? Well, you just shoot it with the heat gun. What, one of those infrared heat guns that doesn't lack reflective surfaces and gives you wrong numbers? Or are you gonna just go by, use a propane torch, and when there's no water, then it's, when you get the water out of the aluminum, I got news for you. The aluminum, there's no water in it. That is the propane, the exhaust gas condensing on the cold aluminum that then evaporates. But anyways, you can leave it in the comment and fight it out with me, how there's aluminum in there, how there's water in the aluminum, and that's where the oxides come from, and we'll make another video on that too. But anyways, so you preheat it, but what are you actually preheating to? And then, this one here is nice. You can weld on it, and the 1/2-inch thick table doesn't act like a heat sink because there's air under it. These here are laying flat on the table. So now, are you gonna preheat the table to? What temperature are you gonna preheat it to? What I do for consistency, I always start with cold to the touch, room temperature, 70, 75 degree aluminum. So then I know my settings, my starting point is always the same. When I dial my machine in, I have 10 coupons, the same size, the same shape, the same thickness coming out of the same piece of bar stock, and I weld on them. I weld on the first one, I lay it off to the side. I make a change, one change at a time. Weld on the second one change. By the time I get around to the first one again, it's cold. So I can make another pass on it. If you only have one coupon, have a bucket of water. Weld, dunk, weld again, dunk again. So you always start with the same temperature coupon so you can understand what did your change actually do. So now when you want to do hot start, HTP sells a gadget called a slider. It goes right in your remote control plug. It goes on the back of your gun, and you can adjust your heat here while you're welding, make your own hot start, taper off towards the end, fill the crater. Well, if you didn't buy that gadget yet, there is a hot start and crater fill function in this Revolution 2500. So let's take a look at this. We have 4043 wire already loaded. We need to pick the program for this. And it doesn't matter if we pick a synergic program or a pulse program. The screen will be the same no matter what we do. This is your screen where you have your inches per minute, your predicted amperage, a voltage. Here's your trim for your arc length, and here's your material thickness. Typically the trim is really good right around 0. Maybe you can go like a little bit negative or a little bit positive. A typical adjustment here is plus or minus 1, maybe plus or minus 2.0. Here is your pre-gas. Your start parameters are in automatic. Your slope down, your burn back and pinch are in automatic. Your post flow is right here. So this is your regular 2T MIG. 2T, you pull the trigger, it welds, you let go, it stops. When you look here, 4T, that's what Miller would call a trigger hold. You pull and hold, gas is coming out, you let go, it starts to weld, welds without you being on the trigger. You pull again, it stops. 4TS is 4T special. Your sequencer now changes. Here is your pre-gas. Here's your start parameters in auto. Here is your hot start or cold start. If this number is greater than 100%, it's hot start. If this number is lower than 100%, it's a cold start. And this works with pulse programs or synergic programs. So 135 means you are 135% of your selected parameters. Your selected parameters let's say right now we will be welding on some 80 thousandths 14 gauge. So we're gonna be right in this neighborhood here at about 225, 235 inches per minute. Our predicted amperage is 80 amps. 80 amps times 1.35, 135%, it's like 108 amps. So when you look at this now, 108 amps means it comes in with a setting for 12 gauge, 120 thousandths thick, just a shy under 1/8 inch, click under 1/8 inch for your hot start. That's while you have the trigger pulled. So we're gonna go back to our setting where we wanna be, 225. We're gonna go in here, pre-gas, start parameters, 135%, that's your hot start. That is why you hold the trigger. Then when you let go, you go into a slope down timer. And I'm gonna give this here 1.5 seconds to slope from the high setting, the 108 amps, down to the 80 amps. Now the next one, there is no dot because that is your, when you let go, you are at these settings. That's why there is no dot, no need to adjust this here in this screen. When you pull again and hold it, you go into a second slope down timer. I'm gonna set this for 2.5 seconds that it slopes down to fill the crater. What does it slope down to? It slopes down to 60% of what my settings are. So I'm at 80 amps times 0.6. So it drops down to 48 amps. 48 amps would be a setting for 18 gauge, 141 inches a minute. So that's what my final current setting is. That's where it drops down to. Again, here I'm pulling and holding. I'm letting it run. While I pull and hold, I let this run for 2.5 seconds. It slopes from the weld setting to the final current setting, takes 2.5 seconds. I'm still on the trigger, and then I'm gonna go into the final current. The final current I can adjust how much it should be. I have it set at 60. You can set it higher or lower to fill your crater. How long does it stay here? As long as you are on the trigger for the second time. When you let go, you drop into burn back and pinch parameters and post flow. So that was a mouthful. Let's see how that works in real life. So aluminum welding is always a spray arc. No matter if it's with or without pulse, it's either a pulse spray arc or straight up spray arc. Spray arc needs a longer contact tip to work distance. Maybe 2 or 3 times as long as your short circuit MIG. Now, if you welded a lot of short circuit MIG in your life, you trained yourself to cram the gun in there and have the cup dragging, well, you'll have to overcome this somehow. It's not gonna be very helpful welding aluminum. So give it some breathing room on the spray arc. Aluminum, you also always push it on a push angle. You never pull it. If you go vertical, you always go vertical up. You never go vertical down. So first pull and hold, it's gonna be hot start. When I let go, takes a second to slope to the welding parameters. When I pull and hold for a second time, takes 2.5 minutes to slope down to the final current, then it's at the final current till I let go. Let's try this. So as you can see here, no cold start and no crater hole. It was a perfect full weld. Now, all overall, when I look at the back side, that's usually what tells you the truth. I'm glad that this was laying on my 1/2-inch thick cold table. That's a little bit too much penetration there, so my settings were still a little bit too high. I probably should have been overall just a smidge lower, or move the gun faster. And I also want to focus that arc cone a little bit more. I like the arc cone as focused and short as possible, lighting off just over the material. But when it starts to crackle, you know you're gonna watch it, you're getting too close, you're short-circuiting. Then it's not a true spray arc anymore. So I can shorten that arc cone up a little bit without any crackling. I'm gonna go down like a volt or so on the trim setting. And then we're gonna use this material. This is about 100 thousandths instead of 80 thousandths. Again, same room temperature cold. And this one here is not even resting on the table. So this will give us a true sign of what's going on. Shorten my arc cone. All the other settings are the same. Same temperature on the material, but a little bit thicker. So this looks a lot nicer. Again, no real cold start, no cold boogers in the beginning, no hole in the end for the crater. The height of it looks good. The toe lines look good, fully wetted in, no undercut. I'd say that's an acceptable aluminum weld. So your options are wing it, buy a slider, or learn how to use the 4T special, and then you don't need a slider, and you can adjust your welding current with the trigger while you're welding within reason, within pre-selected parameters. If you want full control in lifetime, just get the slider and you can adjust, you can read the puddle, make it hotter or colder while you're welding as you're welding. So I hope that helped you to weld aluminum. If you have any questions, give us a call, 847-357-0700.